So it's a big day for Libya, and let's get some reaction now from Abdallah Alzubedi, who represents the National Transitional Council in South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Today is a big day for Libyans. They're awaiting with abated breath. What was the mood like in Libya?
It's a celebratory mood. Everybody's celebrating throughout the night, last night, and even the voting process itself wasn't celebrating. People were, in a very joyous mood. Many of them celebrating for, I think probably the vast majority of them voting for the first time. It's the first elections in Libya since 1965, 47 years ago. So it's a mood of celebration.
Yeah.
That it is, some people say this is the second stage of the revolution. It's a democratic revolution, hoping to usher in a democratic state and changing from a revolution to a state, and this is the beginning of the electing a parliament, writing a constitution within the next 12 months, and as well as having presidential elections as well.
What was voter turnout like?
Very big.
And women, were they all included?
Yes, they were actually. They had their own, in many places, separate polling stations, usually adjacent to the other ones, and they voted big numbers, and there were hundreds of also candidates as well. I don't know how many have made it to the General National Council, but we hope that they will be well represented, and they're waiting for the first time.
Now, why did women have separate polling stations?
Usually to facilitate things, it happened in Egypt as well. It happened in, just to, there's certain requirements, just to facilitate, to make it easier for them.
Okay, is that because the society is conservative?
Well, there's a bit of conservatism there, but that is not, that has been changing changing for a long time. Yeah.
As much as the mood was full of joyous, etc., there were reports of violence, especially in the east. What can you tell us about that?
They were isolated incidents. A few days ago, before the voting, and also, yes, but very isolated, very few incidents. But otherwise, the voting process went very well. This is even the UN representative in Libya. He also confirmed that they went very well, using his words, and all the observers, the local observers and the national observers also, they said it has gone so well so far. Yeah. And I hope it will continue to go well during the counting, and we hope the results will be middle of this coming week or the end of this coming week.
Okay, so as much as you say that the pockets of violence was very small, etc., the feeling that we get here is that the minority is not well represented. What do you have to say about that?
This is a very, very small minority in the East, that they wanted actually to have the allocation of the seats of the General Council, General National Council, to be according to the states, because Libya, when it first got its independence in 1952, it was divided into 3 states: the Cyrenaica in the east, Tripolitania in the west, and the Fazan in the south. And people still think that because of the marginalization of the east by the Gaddafi regime, a lot of people thought that the only way to guarantee that is to have some sort of a federal system. But they are a very small minority in the East, even the East, and they have very little influence. Of course, here and then they can disrupt, but nothing major at all.
Well, the big question in everyone's mind is, when will Libya have a new leader exactly?
Well, this is the beginning of the process.
How long will this process take?
It is 12 months. From 12 to 14 months, if don't quote me, but it is between 12 and 14 months, and will include writing the constitution, and those, maybe when they write the constitution, they'll probably take into consideration regional representation. It's a possibility, and then there will be parliamentary elections. Then there will be presidential elections within that period. Of course, there will be the NTC will stop to exist, as well as the current government will have also to be replaced by another government after elected by the new body, which is the first legally elected body in the country after the collapse of the regime. Yeah.
When you look back at the past 12 months, do you think that the revolution was an absolute success?
I think so. It's different from what happened in Tunisia and in Egypt. In Libya was a total revolution. The regime was uprooted and completely defeated. Unlike what happened, in the other two countries, where the military was heavily involved in the process, and they still probably involved. In Libya, it is a popular revolution after so many years of repression and killing and all of that. And so it's going to be, it has been a success so far, because given that there was a big political vacuum in the country, they've done very well. Yeah. There are, of course, there are problems here and there, many problems, and especially that the country was left with there were no institutions of civic, political or economic, or it was just a one-man show. It was a country run by telephone, by one man.
What about Libyans who've left the country or fled the country?
Oh, I think some of them have returned. Some will eventually return. Those who commit crimes against Libya or against the people of Libya in any form, either financial crimes or who involved in killings, or like Mr. Abdallah Alzubedi who is now in Mauritania, delivered, or like the former prime minister who's been handed over now for trial. Those will have a fair trial, we hope, and I'm sure that they will have a fair trial, and then this is the process, and then those who have no problems can return to the country without any problem.
Abdallah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that was Abdallah Alzubedi, the South African representative for Libya's National Transitional Council.